Hi Loomers, it's Michelle from Rainbow Loom, and today we'll be learning how to make this Argyle Lace bracelet that I created. And this bracelet was named by Rosalind on TikTok. Thank you to everyone who commented name suggestions for us to consider. This bracelet can be made using 6 or 7 bars of pins. The 7-pin version is easier than the 6-pin version, but I will show you how to do both. You do get a lot of flexibility with this design because it's made in sections connected by a single band, so you can make as many or as few diamonds as you'd like. I would consider this an advanced level bracelet because the way we place the bands down might be a little bit confusing, especially if you are doing the 6-bar pin version. There is also a slight variation that you can make in this bracelet. In the middle part, you can use double bands to give more thickness to it. I would recommend doing this if you're using multiple colors on the inside of the diamond, but if not, then you can just use single bands for the whole diamond. Before going into the materials needed, let's talk about something new that just dropped. I will be using this kit today. It's the Loom Lab kit available exclusively in Michael's stores for our Canadian and American loomers. This is everything that you get in this kit: 3,000 bands in 10 different colors, 2 of our large and purple Mega Mighty looms, 2 hooks, 1 double-sided bead hook and a regular metal hook, bag clips. You can use them in a couple of different ways, and then these larger U-clips, which are used to connect wider bracelets if you don't want to use multiple C-clips. You also get colorful pony beads and regular clear C-clips. In addition, this kit comes with project instructions. There are a lot of projects you can make using this kit, especially since it comes with these larger looms. Now let's go over the materials needed for this Argyle Lace bracelet. First, you will need a loom with 6 or 7 bars of pins. I will be using 2 of the Mega Mighty looms to make a full-length bracelet, but since this bracelet is not hard to extend the pattern for, you can just use 1 loom. If you are not using the Mega Mighty loom or 7 bars of pins, then you can also use 2 of the normal looms. Here I have the Rainbow Loom 2.0. To end your creation, you will need a clip, and to loom, we are going to use a hook. If you want to accessorize your bracelet, you can add some beads, which is what I will be doing, and since I'm using pony beads, I will also be using this double-ended bead hook. As for the band count, the border for 1 diamond is 16 bands, plus 1 single band for the connection makes it 17 bands. Then the inner part of the diamond is 13 bands, but if you choose to use double bands in the very center of the diamond, which I'd recommend if you're using multiple colors in the center, then you will need 17 bands. A full-length bracelet for me is 4 diamonds, so in total that is around 120 to 136 bands. You can also do fewer diamonds, so this bracelet here with 3 diamonds and a single chain extension is around 98 bands, and this one with 1 diamond is around 50 bands. This ring with a thicker middle section took around 40 bands. Let's get started. If you are using 6 pins, then please skip ahead using the timestamps in the description. If you are using 7 pins, then keep on watching. I'm using 2 of the Mega Mighty looms, so I will put them together first. Orient the loom so that the pins face the same direction. On one end of the loom, you will see some crescent-shaped hinges. We will place the other loom on top of those crescent-shaped hinges, like so. Push them together, and from the side you can see that it's totally flat, so now our looms are connected. Before you place down the bands, make sure that your loom is oriented correctly. The pins should make a U shape, and you can see at the bottom of my loom that there is an arrow with the number 1 and an icon of some bands, which indicates that we will place bands down starting from this side. For this Argyle Lace bracelet, we will start with the border first. On this bracelet, it's black, but today I will be using orange and white. So first, I will place a single band down vertically on the center column of pins. Now we will start with the diamond border of our bracelet. I will work on the left side first and then work on the right side. For this bracelet, just keep in mind that everything is symmetrical, and for the border, it's all single bands. Okay, next band will go to the left, then up 1, then we will place bands going to the left twice, then place 2 bands coming back to the right, then go straight up, and then to the right. This makes 1/2 of our border for the first diamond. Now we will do the same to the right, but mirrored. Place a band going to the right, then up, then to the right twice, then to the left twice, then up, and then to the left. This makes our first diamond border. To connect the diamonds, we will simply place a single band down, so I'm switching colors to my white, and placing that down where we ended our diamond border. Now you can continue doing this same diamond border until we reach the end of our loom. I will do this one more time with you. Starting in the middle, place a band down going to the left, then up, then to the left twice, then to the right twice, then up, then to the right. Now we can work on the right side. Going back to the beginning of our diamond border, place a band going to the right, then up, then to the right twice, then to the left twice, then up, then to the left. To connect our diamonds, we will just place a single band down vertically where we ended our border. And just continue this pattern until you reach your desired length. For me, a full-length bracelet is around 4 diamonds. I have finished placing the last band down on my border, and this is what my loom looks like now. On the last pin where our vertical band is, I will be adding a cap band on. So just take a single band and your hook. If you have this skinnier hook, then just place the band on the back of your hook and twist once so that there are 2 loops of the band on your hook. Then just insert the back of your hook into this pin here and push the band down onto the pin. You can also add a cap band on by twisting it onto the tip of your hook so that there are 2 loops, then grabbing both loops with your fingers and placing it onto the pin like this. Next, we will add the inner part of our diamond, but first let's push down our bands to make room for these new bands. I'm using the back of my hook and pushing down on the bands in between the pins diagonally. So you do not have to force your fingers in between the pins, just use your hook. After pushing down our bands, now we can start placing bands again at the bottom of our loom. Now we will start working on the center part of our diamond. I'm actually going to make the inner part dual colored like in this ring. The difference between the two is that the ring uses double bands for parts of the center, whereas this bracelet only uses single bands. If you are using multiple colors for the inner part of the diamond, I would recommend using double bands for some parts, but it's not necessary. I will be placing pink and green for the inner part of my diamond. We are going to work on the corners first, which is the pink color on this ring. For this part, we are using single bands. We will be placing bands around these 4 spikes, and we will be using 2 per spike to make an arrow. So take a single band and place it from the left of the spike to the center. With another single band, place it from the right to the center. Can you see the arrow shape? Now we will do the same thing for the other 3 spikes. Going to the left, place a band from the right to the center, and another single band goes from the left of the spike to the center. Now going to the right, place a band from the left of the spike to the center, and another single band goes from the right to the center. Onto the last spike, place a band on the side of the spike to the center, and do the same to the other side. Now let's work on the center part of the diamond, which is this maroon-ish color here. If you are using one color for the inner part, then you can just use single bands. Since I am using 2 colors, like in this ring here, I will be using double bands, just so that it's a little thicker and more full. Remember that single bands just means that you are placing down 1 band, and double bands means that you are placing down 2 bands. So I am taking 2 bands and placing them from the arrow bands we just placed upwards. Then I am moving on to this right arrow here and taking another set of double bands, connect them to the arrow on the right. I am taking another set of double bands and placing them from the left spike upwards to the right. And our last set of double bands goes vertically up to the top arrow bands. To connect the center part together, we will be using a double loop cap band. So get a single band and place it on the back of your hook. Then twist once so that there are 2 loops of the cap band. We will place that band onto either this or this pin and then stretch it across. Then I'm using my hook to grab the 2 loops of the band and stretching it to the other pin that has my pink middle bands. This completes our first diamond, and this is what my loom looks like now. Make sure that yours looks like mine before moving on. Now we can work on the second diamond. We will be doing the exact same thing that we just did, and I will be doing this one more time with you. Let's place our arrow bands on the spikes of the second diamond. Starting with the bottom spike, place a single band on the left of the spike going to the center, and another one on the right of the spike going to the center to make an arrow shape. Moving on to the spike on the left, take another single band and place it on the right of the spike, and another one goes on the left of the spike. Now onto the spike on the right. Let's do the same thing but mirrored. Again, remember that we are using 2 single bands here. Now we can do the last spike. Place a band on both sides of the spike so that they form an arrow shape. Let's move on to the inner part of the diamond. Remember that you can use single bands here or double bands. I will be using double bands and placing them on this bottom arrow going straight up. Then I'm taking another set of double bands and connecting them from where we left off to the arrow on the right. With another set of double bands, do the same thing with the arrow bands on the left. And then with another set of double bands, I'm placing those straight up to the arrow on top. Now we will make a cap band and place it across the two middle pins. Place a single band on the back of your hook and twist once so that there are two loops of the cap band on your hook. I'm sticking the back of my hook into this bottom pin in the middle, pushing the cap band onto the pin, and then grabbing the two loops of the cap band with my hook and stretching that cap band to the middle pin on top. I will do the rest on my own, but feel free to rewind. I have finished placing down all of my bands, and this is what my loom looks like now. We can turn our loom around 180 degrees and start the looming process. We will start by looming the inner part of the diamond, which is pink and green for me. Then we will loom the border. Locate the center cap band that we placed across the two pins in the middle of our diamond. Keep in mind that there are two loops of the cap band. We will start from the bottom middle pin and grab the next band down on our pin, which for me is this set of double bands. After that, we will loom the other set of bands on that pin, which for me are these double bands going to the right. Reach into the pin, grab the vertical bands. This one might be a little tricky, and bring them back to themselves. Then take the remaining unloomed bands on that pin and bring them back to themselves. We will do the same to the middle pin on top where our cap band is. I'm taking the two bands below the cap band since I placed double bands down earlier and looming them back to themselves. Do the same to the other band or bands on that pin. Now we can work on the pink arrow bands. I'm starting with the arrow bands at the bottom of our loom. The arrow band that's on top is the one on the left for me, so I will loom that one first and then loom the one on the right. Reach into the pin where my green band is, pull back on all the bands that we have loomed, and grab the topmost band, which for me is the one on the left. Bring that band back to its other half. Then reach into the same pin, grab the remaining arrow band, and bring that back to itself. We will do this for all of the other three sets of arrows. Moving on to the left, I will loom this bottom arrow band first because it's on top of the other one. Bring that band back to itself. Now we can do the same to the other side. Moving on to the right spike, this bottom arrow band is resting above the other arrow band, so I will loom that one first. Then I'm looming the remaining arrow band. Onto the last arrow bands, stick your hook into the pin where my green band is, grab the one on top, and loom it back to itself. Then do the same to the remaining arrow band. We have finished looming the inner portion of our diamond, and I definitely feel like looming this is easier than placing the bands. I'm going to complete each diamond one by one, so now let's work on the border. This part is pretty easy. At the bottom of our loom, let's stick our hook into the pin with the cap band, pull back on both layers of this band, grab the bottommost band, and bring it back to itself. I'm going to loom the left side of the border first, and then work on the right side after. All we're going to do here is stick our hook into the pin, pull back on the bands to reach the border band, which for me is white, and loom it back to itself. If you feel like there's a lot of tension on the bands, then remember that you can circle your hook around the pin to release any tension. To continue, just remember to reach into the pin, grab the bottommost band, and bring it back to itself. This is the last one that I'm looming now, and we can go back to the beginning and do the same to the right side. Stick your hook into the pin, pull back on the bands on top, and grab the bottommost band, which again is this white color for me. Lastly, we will loom this vertical band upwards. I want to add beads between my diamonds, so I'm going to do that here. I'm getting my bead hook out to help me place these pony beads on. This bead hook here has two sides. There is one with a smaller tip that says bead and a larger tip that says band. I will be using the side that says bead on it to help me place some beads on. I'm taking a pony bead and placing it onto the side of my hook with the smaller tip. I'm holding that with my thumb and pulling the vertical band that we just loomed off the pin, and I'm also pulling it slightly upwards. Then slide the pony bead on, and we can put the vertical band back onto the pin. Now we can continue looming our diamonds. To continue this pattern, loom the inner portion of the diamond and then loom the border. If you need a more detailed reminder on how to loom the inner part of the diamond, then you can check the description of this video or scroll through the chapters for timestamps. I'm just going to speed this next part up, and I will meet you when my bracelet is loomed. I have just finished looming this last vertical band here, and this is what my loom looks like now. Since this bracelet is long enough to go around my wrist, I'm just going to add a C-clip to the last band here. To help me place on the C-clip, I'm using my hook to grab the last vertical band that we placed down, and then using my C-clip to capture the two loops of the band that are on my hook. Now we can remove our creation from the loom. To make sure that no bands snap in the process, I'm going to use my hook to help me. And this is what my bracelet looks like off the loom. I love the beads and the color combination that I chose. It's super fun and reminds me of summer. To close off this bracelet, just connect the other end of your bracelet to the clip. And now your bracelet is complete. Now you can skip to the end for some announcements. In this part, I will show you how to make this Argyle Lace bracelet using 6 pins, and I will be using 2 of the Rainbow Loom 2.0s to do this. Again, this is an advanced level bracelet, and the 6-pin version is more challenging than the 7-pin version, so I'm going to assume that you have some experience making Rainbow Loom bracelets, and this will be more of a quick tutorial. Let's get started. I'm starting with my looms oriented like this, where the one on the right is placed lower than the one on the left. Make sure that you're placing bands from the correct side. My pins here make a U shape, and at the bottom of the loom, there is an arrow with the number 1 and an icon of some bands. I'm going to start with the border of the diamond, which is black in this bracelet, and I am using dark blue here. Place a single band vertically upwards on the 4th pin in the first row. Okay, next band will go to the left, and then down one, then up one, then out one, then into the right, then up 2, then into the right. This makes 1/2 of our diamond. Start again at the beginning where our vertical band is, and place a single band going to the right, then another going to the right, then into the left, then out to the right, then up one, then 3 into the left. This is the center of our diamond, so to connect the diamonds, we're going to place a band from here going to the right. If you want to make another diamond, you would do the exact same thing here. Let's work on the inner part now. If you are using multiple colors like I did in this ring, then I would recommend using double bands for the bands that connect to the cap band because it gives a more full look. I'll tell you again when we get to that point though. For this one, I'm just going to be using single bands for my entire diamond, and I will be using multiple colors just so that it's easier to understand what I'm doing. First, I am placing down some purple bands that will create an arrow shape on the corners of the diamond. It's kind of hard to describe exactly what I'm doing, so I'd recommend just watching and just copying what I'm doing. So I'm placing 2 single bands to make an arrow shape in the center, and I will do this for all corners of the diamond. Next, we will move here and do pretty much the same thing, using 2 single bands. The next set of these arrow bands goes here. And the last set of arrow bands goes here. Again, I am using 2 single bands. Let's work on the inner part of the diamond. In this ring, it's this reddish color here, and I use double bands here, which is where we place 2 bands instead of 1 band. In this bracelet, I use single bands because I only use one color for the inner part of the diamond, so it's up to you what you want to do, but I will be using single bands. Place your single or double bands going up from this first arrow, then connect that to the one on the left. Then place single or double bands going from the right to the center. And then single or double bands goes diagonally to the other arrow. Next, we will add a cap band across 2 pins, and if you're using double bands, then switch back to a single band for this. I'm taking a single band and my hook, placing the band on the back of my hook, twisting once so that there are 2 loops of the cap band on my hook, then inserting my hook into this pin, and pushing that cap band down onto the pin. Taking both loops of the cap band, stretch it to this other pin here like so. This completes our first diamond. If you want to make another diamond, then you can do the exact same thing above minus the first vertical band that we placed down. For me, I'm just going to make a single chain extension with a cap band at the end. Also, if you want to extend this pattern, I will show you how to do that after we learn how to loom this. I have turned my loom around 180 degrees, and I'm going to start by looming the single chain extension first. To loom the diamond, we are going to loom the inner portion first, starting on the pins with the cap band, which is pastel orange for me. Starting from the bottom pin of the cap band, I'm going to loom whichever one of these teal bands is on top, and bring that band back to itself. If you use double bands here, then remember to loom both bands on the pin. Then I'm going to loom these arrow bands, so again whichever one of these purple arrow bands is on top is the one that I'm looming first. Then I will loom the other side. Now we will do the same thing to the other 3 corners of the diamond. So reach back into that bottom cap band pin, I'm looming that teal band, and remember to grab both bands if you use double bands. Then I'm looming the arrow bands, starting with whichever one of the purple bands is on top. Then looming the other arrow band. Moving on to the other side of the cap band, locate whichever band is on top, and loom that band back to itself. Then loom the arrow bands. Going back to the cap band, loom the remaining 1 or 2 bands, and then loom the 2 arrow bands. Now we will loom the border starting with the left side, and then working on the right side. Reach into the pin, pull back on all the other bands, and grab the bottommost border band, which is dark blue for me. This is the last band that we are looming on the left side, and then I will move on to the right side. Lastly, I am looming this vertical band here. Because I am extending this bracelet, I'm going to grab the last vertical band, place it onto my hook, and remove this creation from the loom. I think this one turned out pretty cool even though I didn't use double bands. I'm going to set this piece aside for now and we can extend this pattern. Make sure that your loom is oriented correctly, and then we can do the exact same thing that we just did. I am placing down the border bands first, and keep in mind that we will not be placing the cap band down for the border or the last connecting band because we will use the first part of our bracelet there. Then place the bands for the inner part of the diamond. Turn your loom around 180 degrees, and then we can get our creation and place it back onto the pin where we would have placed the last connecting band. I'm placing it across 2 pins so that it's secure, and then we will loom the inner part of the diamond. If you want a more thorough explanation for this, then you can rewatch the part where I talk through this more. Then we can loom the border, and remember that we are looming the left side first and then the right side. After looming this last vertical band, now we can remove our creation from the loom. And this was a quick explanation on how to extend this bracelet. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to create this Argyle Lace bracelet. If you make this, please tag us at official_rainbowloom and use the hashtag rainbowloom so that we can see your creations on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We also host weekly giveaways on our Instagram called our Loom Star of the Week contest where you can win some fun prizes, so be sure to follow us there. In the description box below, you can find where to purchase your own Rainbow Loom products. We have so many kits available and there's honestly something for everyone. We are also selling some Rainbow Loom products on our TikTok shop, so if you're in the US, check out our store which has some exclusive bundles and deals that you can't find anywhere else. As for some announcements, we will be bringing in new exclusive band colors later this year, so make sure that you're following us on social media so that you can take part in some of our polls so that we can determine what colors to bring in. Also remember that we have some new products at Michael's, and we are also doing TikTok lives now. At the moment, we're doing one every 2 weeks to promote some of our TikTok exclusive bundles, and we also host giveaways and other deals during that time, so we'd really appreciate if you would join us there. Again, thanks for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.